This episode is brought to you by Nana's Deli. Attention food lovers, have you been to Nana's Bistro yet? If not, you're missing out. Nana's Deli has just unveiled their newly renovated dine-in space and it's ready for you to enjoy. The updated menu has all your favorites plus a new star, Food Czar Flats, served with every salad, sandwich, or grill order. But let's not forget the classics that made Nana's famous. Their mouth-watering tuna, legendary sloppy joes, hearty soups, and that unbeatable pastrami sandwich. This is comfort food done right. Got a special occasion? Nana's Bistro is perfect for private events, birthdays, anniversaries, or just because. You name it, they'll make it unforgettable. Since 1981, Nana's has been a tradition, and they're still going strong. And if you're in Jersey City, you already know, Nana's is there too, bringing their signature flavors to your neighborhood. So what are you waiting for? Stop by Nana's, enjoy your favorites, and don't forget those Food Czar Flats. Nana's Deli, serving tradition, flavor, and love since 1981. Mention Food Czar Podcast to receive 10% off your next order. Go to nanasdeli.com for more information. Hey there, listeners. Here's a quick question. When was the last time you took a good look at your insurance policies? If you're unsure, don't worry. Beth Sultan at Strategic Insurance Agency has you covered. Strategic Insurance, right here in Livingston, has been helping people protect what matters most for over 25 years. Beth Sultan, a licensed property and casualty insurance broker, is ready to make sure your home, auto, or business is fully covered at the best price possible. The best part? Beth offers a free, no-pressure review of your current policies. All it takes is a quick chat and a couple of documents to ensure you've got the best coverage for your needs. So don't put it off. Call Beth Sultan today at 917-488-2523 or email her at bsultan@siapc.com. Let her and the team at Strategic Insurance put their 25 years of expertise to work for you. Strategic Insurance Agency, trusted in the community for over 2 decades.
This is Behind the Counter.
Beyond the counter.
With the Food Czar. Here's Heidi.
So welcome back to another episode of Behind the Counter with the Food Czar, which is me, Heidi Blum. And today's episode is one of the craziest episodes I've ever done because I'm sitting in a car with Livingston born and bred, right?
Yeah.
Adam Goldberg, the owner and founder of PopUp Bagels. But Adam, before I even get to you even speaking, I'm going to say this. When people say Livingston, they say the famous people that have come out of Livingston are Chris Christie, or Jason Alexander, Chelsea Handler, Harlan Coben.
I think one of the Pips, right?
Maybe one of the Pips. Now we're dating ourselves. But I will say this. After today's episode, they are going to be saying at the very top of that list is Adam Goldberg, founder and owner of PopUp Bagels.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And today, rather than behind the counter, I would say that we're behind the wheel.
We're behind the wheel, baby. That's the way we're rolling. So, Adam, I'm so happy that you agreed to do this. I feel honored, and I know you're a very busy man. But I thought it would be fun for people who listen to find out a little bit about you and how you started, your roots in Livingston that led you up to PopUp Bagel. So, Livingston, right? Born and bred.
Born and bred. I had 2 different houses in Livingston growing up. I lived there until I was 14 years old. North Hillside Avenue is where I lived most recently there. And still have a lot of friends and contacts there. But, we definitely, I will say right up front, we haven't opened a store there yet, but it's definitely in the cards to open something either in Livingston or within 5 or 10 miles of Livingston, later this year.
I think that may be an exclusive.
Yeah, you are the first to know that.
Thank you. See, this is why I do it.
I've been telling
and I'm
people
your girl,
that for
Adam.
years, but now I really mean it.
Well, I'm gonna press him, people. I'm gonna press him after this. So you grew up. You just said on North Hillside. Yep. So you were a Riker Hill boy.
Riker Hill boy. Went freshman year to Livingston High School. And then I actually switched over to Montclair Kimberly Academy.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah.
Yes,
well,
very fancy.
They didn't really love me much in Livingston High School.
Trust me. Class clown here in 1986.
They were like,
so
do you maybe want to go to private school next year? And I was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. It's my only option. Yeah. So So,
Stay in school.
Yeah, stay in school, kids. That's the. But at the same time, look where it leads you, right? So, all right. So, you're growing up in Livingston, great childhood, right? Livingston is so fun. What restaurants were you?
Don's.
Yes, baby. What was your meal?
Don's. I just had a burger and the pickles and the French fries. They were the best. And then on the way out, you would go to the deli counter or the bakery counter.
Yes.
And you'd get your cupcake or something. And the cupcakes would look like Kermit the Frog or whatever.
Oh, my God. I forgot about those. I was a
Don's
double
was the
burger
best.
cheese surprise
I was
girl.
also a Bonvini's guy growing up.
You know, they came back for 2 years.
I heard.
And it was awesome.
Is it now not there anymore?
They closed, and it tasted just like the original.
I never ate at Nero's. Never as a kid.
Wow.
Very strange. I've eaten there since. Great place, but
Yep.
I've never eaten there. And the other memory I have was there was a pizzeria, I think, called like Two
Gondoliers.
No, something else.
Juniors?
Nope. It was under the Skybox baseball card store that used to be like
Was
two
it
pizzas
Calabria's?
for $10.
Oh, Ricky D's.
Ricky D's.
Yep,
Yeah.
I used to get their cheesesteaks.
Yeah.
I
So,
had issues, but
Anyway,
yeah.
that was my Livingston time.
That's what, okay, but more importantly, bagels.
Bagels. I was a Livingston bagel guy.
So, okay, so let's fast forward. You,
Livingston bagel to the point where I grew up and we would go to like Sunday school, right, at the temple.
sure, what temple?
B'nai Abraham.
Yeah, baby.
And I would be the one that was in charge of going to Livingston Bagel and getting the big bag of bagels to bring to temple.
In the paper bag.
In the paper bag.
Yep.
And it used to be like a quarter a bagel, and we would get like 40 or 50 bagels, and we would bring them to temple, and everyone would like grab a hot bagel to eat while they're like waiting for the teacher to say like, Sheket Lavaka Shah, or whatever
Hey!
she said.
Yeah.
Hey, exactly. So that was my bagel child story. Yeah.
So was Livingston Bagel, well, we're going to get there. So you graduate Montclair Kimberly, you
Yep.
go to
GW.
college, GW. Oh, I'm going to look there for my daughter. And you had a great experience at
Great
GW.
4 years, and I left the day I graduated.
Okay, awesome.
back.
What was your major?
Marketing.
Okay, and so then you take that marketing degree.
Take that marketing degree. I moved back to Short Hills, where I was living,
Sure.
and immediately realized I had to get out of my parents' house. They're great people, but I just didn't want to live there.
Of course.
So
Shout
I
out to the
found a
Goldbergs.
job shout out to the Goldbergs, Mort Allen, Rocket. I found a job in New York at Alex Brown.
Okay.
On a basically sales assistant to a stockbroker.
Okay.
And I wound up leaving there 6 months later to become my own broker in the business, and was there Morgan Stanley and Dean Witter, I think, until 2001.
Were you happy?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was great.
Yeah. Young
great.
guy, making money, doing
Yeah.
your thing.
Doing my thing.
Okay, so then we go where?
Staying out till 4 o'clock, going to work at 6.
The best of times, the hardest
Early-
of times,
early
the best of
20s
times.
on Wall Street.
Yeah.
It was pretty awesome.
So then you go,
So now it's 2001. I actually moved out to Aspen for a season.
okay,
And then I came back and I got into the insurance business, which I was in until about 2009.
insurance.
Yeah.
Wow, like just like
Like
auto, health.
Company-owned life insurance. Like
Okay.
Big kind of insurance policies.
Okay,
And I was in that business until 2009. And then I wound up in the flood mitigation business a couple of years later, protecting buildings and cities and airports and tunnels and municipalities.
what year was this?
I got into the business about 6 months before Hurricane Sandy.
I was just gonna. That's what I was asking. Okay,
And I built a business there from about 2013 until 2000.
wow.
Right when COVID happened, the whole flood mitigation business kind of pivoted. All the money that was going to protect buildings from flooding started protecting surfaces from germs.
Okay. Oh yes.
So it's like if you had $1 million, hey, let's protect our building budget, it was no longer, nobody cared about floods. They now cared about what if someone coughs on my elevator, or, I mean, the amount
Oh,
of
my
products that
God.
I was being pitched.
Yeah.
Because I had access to all of the biggest real estate names in New York.
Right.
And people would come to me and say, I can sell you a spray that goes off every 8 minutes and it guarantees you won't get this or whatever.
Oh,
And-
my
And you
God.
were just like, okay. Or surfaces that are guaranteed to not touch germs. And it was like,
And how do you even know which is like the real? Like
nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knew.
Yeah.
So I was a little shady on
But
that.
everyone was pedaling, and yeah.
Everyone
yeah.
was pedaling. I was
Yeah.
tired of the pedaling, so I just decided to start making sourdough, and like everybody else.
Oh,
I
so you
was
were
a
like when we
sourdough
were like
baker.
all on lockdown. You're like, I'm going to
Yeah.
do the sourdough bread like everyone else.
Sourdough
Yeah.
bread like everyone else. This is so fun. I named my starter. Blah, look.
Let me tell you, doing the starter is the hardest thing.
but it was nice. It was
Yeah.
therapeutic.
Sure.
Gave me something to do.
Sure.
Were
you ever a cook, like cooking?
I was a cook. I was an entertainer and a cook.
Okay.
So I always loved to entertain.
Okay.
I loved to throw parties.
Oh, I was
my
like...
12th birthday, I remember I hired a DJ in my basement, and me and one of my friends, we had like 100 people over, and it was like, we turned my lights in my basement, and this is, in the 80s.
Yeah.
I bought these like things that reacted to the music if you put them in
Oh,
the
sure,
hi-hats.
yeah.
So
it went on the beat.
It all goes back to Livingston. I always...
Back to the basement.
Back to the basement, back to the parties, always wanted to have fun. So, I was making sourdough, and part of the fun of the sourdough was I was delivering loaves of bread to friends.
Sure.
And it was like at least a way to interact with people
Yes.
during early COVID.
Yes.
So when I started making bagels in, I think it was June or July of 2020, it was super hot out. It was like the middle of the week. My cousin was over on a COVID holiday,
right,
where everyone tests and you go hang out for the first time, and you're like, hey, I haven't been with anyone else, and like,
yes,
we haven't seen anyone. So like their family, our family, we were just like drinking margaritas in the pool at 8 o'clock or so on a Wednesday morning, and we were like, it's kind of hot. I don't think we want to make sourdough today. So we were like, let's make bagels. That sounds refreshing. And it was like, we were kind of joking about it.
Yeah.
Like, how refreshing would a bagel be? So we made bagels.
In the pool when it's hot.
We didn't make the bagels in the pool, but we talked about it in the pool. We got out of the pool, dried off, went inside, found some recipes online, kind of took from each recipe what we thought would be fun, and just started making bagels.
So were you thinking, like, I'm sure you've had many a bagel in a day.
Yeah.
So were you basing it off of any bagels that you've had, or you were just, okay.
But when we ate them, we were like, wow.
This is a good bagel.
This is what, I miss these bagels. And our initial thought was, because remember, this is like 4 months into lockdown.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't believe we haven't had a bagel in 4 months. This is what bagels taste like.
That's crazy.
So for like 3 days in a row, we were like, oh, bagels.
Right.
And on the fourth day, my wife was like, guys, like, you're making a mess. Like, get out of the house, get out of the kitchen, go buy bagels at a store. So,
okay.
We masked up and we went to the bagel shop and came home and nobody ate. Nobody wanted the bagels we bought.
From the store.
From the store.
Because they were scared.
I thought I missed store bagels.
Yeah.
What I missed were bagels from like the 80s.
That's, okay.
Because it had been 4 months.
So like a Livingston bagel.
I missed like the old Livingston bagel.
Sure.
Bagel. Like where it was like, whatever that was. And nothing against the new Livingston bagel.
No.
I haven't had it in 20 years. But,
yeah. But I think what you're trying to say is like in the old Livingston bagel was really the only bagel.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was also just a bagel. I don't remember there being a deli or anything like
No.
that. So, when I started making bagels then for friends, because I realized we were onto something and it was like a fun way to be this, highlight, attention and have fun and make people smile.
Yep.
And people were reaching out to me, and it was fun to hear from people I haven't spoken in a while.
Yeah.
But what I realized was a lot of the people, especially the old timers who were eating my bagels, were like, this reminds me of Brooklyn in the 60s.
With some kippered salmon and herring. Yeah.
Brooklyn, this is what a bagel should be.
That's amazing.
So
that's when you know you got it right.
That's when I knew I had it right, and I just kept making them and making them and making them.
So, okay, so you make them, and then you say, I'm going to start a store? No, you're going to do pop-ups.
I'm not going to start a store. I'm going to just hand them out of the back of my window. And I was doing that to the point where I was making 30, 40 dozen a day sometimes in my kitchen, which is not a very big kitchen. And I actually had a second oven put in so that I could make more bagels.
Is this when you were living in Connecticut?
Yeah, I still live in Connecticut.
Yeah,
Same
okay.
house.
So, because, it's funny because PopUp Bagels, now it's coming back to me, it was a hot item to get.
Yeah.
It would be like, I snagged a bag of PopUp Bagels. Yes.
And the reason, there were so many things that happened by accident.
Of course.
But beautifully on purpose.
Yep.
Like, the reason everyone in Livingston knew who I was at the time, aside from having been living there, was I did a pop-up with my friend Chef PJ Kalapa, because he at the time had a ghost kitchen in Livingston because his restaurants were shut down. So he was doing catering. And he said, hey, come borrow my ovens one day. So I would drive to Livingston, and I borrowed his ovens one day. And someone in Long Island would say, come borrow my ovens one day. So we were able to really quickly reach people and create a brand, not only on social media, but also in real life, because I couldn't just open a store. I
Right.
didn't just open a store. Had I opened a store, I would have had a bagel shop in Westport.
Yep. It's so true.
We
You
weren't
created a
bagel
lot
shop
of
in
hype.
Westport. We were at the Noma Hotel. I mean, talk about places that are desperate to do anything interesting in the middle of COVID.
Right.
Where nobody's doing anything.
It's true.
You know, the Noma Hotel, I knew the marketing guy there, and he's like, yeah, come on, use our kitchens one morning.
It's unbelievable.
So we used their kitchens one
And
morning.
is that why you named it PopUp?
That's why we named it PopUp Bagels. The other reason we named it PopUp Bagels is because Goldberg's, which is my last name, was taken.
Oh my God, that's so right.
Yeah.
That's so true.
So, so we just really started making bagels. And, at the beginning, I didn't even use a mixer. We were making 40, 50 dozen bagels a day without a mixer.
Oh my God.
Eventually, I learned how to use a mixer. Eventually, I learned how to, temper the dough and how to proof it properly.
And mass produce it.
Then we really decided, me and my wife, and I had a guy in high school at the time, his name was Jasper, working with me.
Right.
We all kind of sat down and were like, look, we need to really figure out how to do this without having to come in at 3 o'clock in the morning and make dough.
Sure.
When we started,
Yeah.
it was like, radio cranking, everyone's kind of groggy-eyed, 3 in the morning. The high school kids that work for me were all talking about the party they were at the night before or 2 days before. And, everyone was just party music playing, flour flying everywhere. Nobody has any experience ever working in commercial kitchens or baking or anything.
Right.
So, we were just, winging it completely the entire time.
How fun is that, though?
So fun.
Yeah.
And the fun showed in the dough.
Sure.
Right? Everyone's like, oh, is it the water? Maybe, but it's really the love. It's really the
So that's the answer to the question.
It's the love.
Right? It's the love.
Yeah,
it's
the
not
love.
the water, people. So did you start off with just plain bagels, or did you?
No, actually, I started off with every kind possible. The first time I cooked bagels, it was plain, cinnamon raisin, honey whole wheat, gluten-free I even did one weekend early on. And it was just we can do it all. And
Right.
then I realized you can't do it all.
No, yeah.
And that's why we stick to one dough, 5 flavors, plain everything, sesame, poppy, and salt, because we can make those out of anything.
So when you were selling them originally or handing them out, did you have spreads with them?
No.
Okay.
I actually, at one point, because I was one of the early Baldor adapters,
Okay.
who realized you could have a pallet of food dropped off at your house.
Yes.
So I literally had ribs, I think veal chops, and 1,000 pounds of flour, at all times.
Oh my God.
The steaks, it was you name it, we had it. But at one point I was buying little 1 ounce Philadelphia cream cheeses so that if people came over, they could have that.
Sure. Okay.
So, but that, so I had that going on in pop-ups. Then I got a cottage license in Connecticut so I can cook and legally sell out of my house.
Yep.
But you can only sell $10,000 a year out of a cottage license.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So when the newspaper in January or February of 2021 wrote me up as having sold 300 dozen bagels the prior week,
Yeah.
the person at the state of Connecticut Food Bureau was like, hey, Adam, we did the math and it looks like you've hit your number. It's time to get a store.
Oh my God. Okay.
And they could have shut me down.
Yeah.
And I was like, look, can I have 30? They're like, you have 30 days. Go find a commercial space.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
So then, so the first commercial space is where?
First commercial space was borrowed by a company. It was a plant-based hub kitchen
Okay.
called Manna Toast. And they wanted to charge me rent, and I had no idea if I was going to be able to sell enough bagels to cover a rent.
Yep.
So, and this is where another accident that came out perfect came together. I was like, look, how about I sell the bagels, you sell the cream cheese? And he goes,
brilliant.
what do you mean? I said, look, every person that buys a dozen bagels from me, they have to buy 2 cream cheeses from you.
Brilliant.
And that's $12, and your cost on that is maybe 3 or 4. You're going to make $8 a customer. However many customers I have, you're going to make money.
Sure. Brilliant. Where was this in New York?
These were all made up costs in my mind too.
Of
I was just kind of I'd never sold
I don't know
cream
that I
cheese.
could sell it for $12. Yeah.
I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
No, it was in Westport, Connecticut.
Oh, still. Okay.
So this guy said yes.
Okay.
And a few months later, we were selling $30,000 or $40,000 a month worth of cream cheese.
Oh my God.
It was wild.
That's
the amount of cream cheese that
Well,
was
that
being
guy
sold.
must have been thank
He
you.
was, but
yeah.
the guy was saying, well, wait a second, I'm paying $25,000 a month rent right now.
Right.
So I was like, we gotta maybe
renegotiate this,
or I'm moving.
Yeah.
Like, let's find a happy medium. They were really good to me. Their business wound up closing down. Unfortunately, they started like right during COVID, and they never really got their momentum.
Right.
And we wound up leasing a couple different spaces nearby so that we could continue our growth. At one point, we had 500 subscribers.
Oh my God.
You want to talk about, will people show up for bagels?
Yeah.
500 people paid me either weekly or bi-weekly so that they guaranteed that they would have bagels.
That's
By the way,
insane.
how fun is it? There's 2 people just walked by with bags. So we're sitting outside of the store right now because the store's too busy for us to actually have the stock.
And there's no outlet to plug in,
But
by the way.
what's really amazing, and this was like one of my like aha moments, is like when you walk around, especially on a nice spring day in the summer or wherever, anywhere within 2 blocks of our store on Thompson Street, you just see our bags.
By the way, you see your bags everywhere. You see your boxes everywhere. You see PopUp is everywhere, by the way.
We try to be everywhere.
Yes, and you're succeeding in that.
Thank you.
So now you open, so now you go from finding a new space, so do you say it's time to open a store?
No, I never really wanted to open a store. I really like this like weekend only, hit it when it's popular, and grab bag. Why do I need to be open other days if it's going to be slow?
Right.
So the first 2 years of our business was really focused on only Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
Only when the most people buy bagels, non-office.
Yep.
Right. Like our New York stores and everywhere.
The
we're opening
weekenders.
now. The weekenders are the majority of the bagel buyers.
Yep.
And the way we present it by buying a dozen only, it's for families or people who understand you can freeze and slice and you can have a bagel for a month and they're still great. But especially in the suburbs, it was families buying a dozen bagels, sometimes sharing it with their neighbors, which was really cool.
Oh, that's fun.
And sometimes just knowing that their, 12-year-old boy is going to eat 14 bagels, right? Like it's like
the metabolism of 14-year-old,
right?
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of why we sold it by the dozen.
Sure.
It just made it easy and it was fun. Then the grip, rip, and dip kind of became a thing because people would be driving up to our store, which was really just a pickup door.
Right.
And before they left the parking lot, you'd see them like open their schmear container and start reaching into the bag.
Getting a hot, fresh bagel
and dipping it in the cup. So we always joke that it was like, honey, they only gave me 10 bagels today, every time
that's really funny.
driver got home because, they were...
All their wives were probably thinking you were jipping them of 2 bagels.
By the way, it was the wives that were eating in the car. It wasn't the husbands.
I know, of course, because they were probably telling them we don't eat carbs. Yeah. Shh. Yeah.
No.
Oh, no, never. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Listen.
So that's amazing. So did you like come up with the phrase grip it, rip it, dip it?
We did come up with grip, rip, and dip.
Yep.
We actually trademarked it.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah. We also came up with not famous but known.
Oh yeah, I want to ask about that.
And that was said to us unknowingly by someone in a nightclub called Pablo Disco Bar in Reykjavik in 2016.
I mean, of course, doesn't every good name come from a disco bar in Reykjavik?
Comes from Pablo Disco Bar in Reykjavik. The guys sitting next to us at the table, everyone was coming over and saying hi to them, and my wife was like, hey, are you guys like famous? And he's like, nah. He's like, we're not famous, but we're known.
Oh my God.
And we just remember someone saying that and being like, wow, that is so awesome.
That is like it is the best line.
It's the best line.
Yeah.
So when I realized I couldn't be Goldberg's Bagels,
and
I also couldn't be famous Goldberg's Bagels, we were like, let's just be not famous but known.
So smart.
Yeah.
And it's I mean, like a marketing, again, mistakes that turned out to be like a brilliant marketing thing.
Right.
So grip it, rip it, dip it, trademarked.
Grip, rip, and dip.
Grip, rip, and dip. I keep saying grip it, rip it.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's
I think
okay.
because I keep thinking
I'll
of golf.
trademark that too
Fine.
now.
Thank you. And then you trademark not famous. What is it? Not famous.
Not famous, but known.
Yeah. So that's amazing. So you have all of these lines, right? Like marketing lines before you even open the store.
Yeah.
Wow.
We built the brand.
You built the brand.
And more importantly than the brand, we built the community.
Well, that's everything.
Because at the end of the day, there's and I've had a lot of people thank me for it. I don't really think that high of what we did. I mean, obviously what we did is amazing. But a lot of people were like, thank you for building this fun community where we all love bagels. We all love freshness. We all love we love that our kids are happy if we go out and buy a bagel.
Well, you did it at a time, too, when everyone was needing that.
Looking for something to do.
Yeah. Looking for something to do, looking for social interaction, and a community, looking for that.
Sure.
A sense of belonging somewhere. So, I mean, food always brings us together, right?
Always.
Yeah. So
Always.
that's amazing. And you are also, you seem to be very present in the brand. I mean, you are everywhere and anywhere.
It's so much fun. It's the most fun I've ever had. So, like,
how could it not be, right?
Where am I going to go?
I might as well stand in a bagel store.
Right.
So your first store you opened when and where?
So we had our Westport store going, which is not really a walk-in store, only open 5 days a week still.
Okay.
We built a commissary in Reading, Connecticut, also only open for business, like 4 days a week.
Okay.
And that was built there. But our first real walk-in, how do we deal with 7 days a week customers, was right here on Thompson Street. And that was in April of 2023.
Wow.
So almost 2 years ago.
Wow.
And to this day, we still have, on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, a line that almost wraps the block.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Well, what's insane is it's only, we're in February. It's not even 2 years.
Yeah.
And you have Thompson.
We have Thompson now.
Upper West Side, Upper East Side.
82nd and 3rd. We have 76th and Columbus. We are in the process of opening in the next 6 weeks a store on 30th and 7th Avenue.
Wow.
57th and Lex.
Wow.
So we're opening 3 stores in the next 6 weeks. Another 2 stores. We have Tribeca and Union Square coming by the summertime.
Oh my God.
And then we're also working on like 7 or 8 stores in Florida.
Well, you opened Boston.
We opened Boston. We now just announced a second store in Boston. Just this morning we announced Tampa. And pretty soon we're going to announce Atlanta. And we've already announced Charlotte. That's going to come this summer.
You're definitely going to need Boulder. They need bagels, man.
Boulder?
Yes.
Yeah, Boulder's going to happen. I mean, now that my daughter's going there.
Yes.
Let's go Buffs.
Let's go Buffs. Yep.
Yeah.
Deion Sanders. PopUp Bagels are coming for you.
They're coming.
Yeah. So you opened the first store in April of 2023.
Yes.
Were you nervous?
Very.
Okay.
I didn't know
if they were going to come.
I didn't know if they were going to come. And for the first month, we were really just, and we still try to keep, our humbleness about us. But
sure.
We were really just like, hey, like we're new. These are our bagels. We know New York has a big bagel scene. We'd already won a couple awards as like best bagel in New York from the 2 different bagel fests we participated in.
Amazing.
But like we didn't have a store in New York. So,
yeah.
When you look, we're sitting on this street right now. It's not like a heavy foot traffic street. There's maybe like 10 people every 20 minutes that walk by. So I was like, who's going to come to the store?
Right.
And we opened and, we really, more than anything, we were ourselves. We were kind. We gave out bagels where we felt it was necessary to give them out. If someone was waiting, we would give them a bagel while they're waiting.
Yep.
If somebody was going to their office, we'd say, hey, here's a couple extra bagels, bring to someone you work with. But more than that, this was the first store we allowed people to buy less than a dozen.
Okay.
And we did it because a few weeks before we opened, I had this like nightmare that no one's going to try our bagels and they're going to hate me because I'm forcing
them to buy a dozen
20-year-old New Yorkers to buy a dozen bagels.
You know what? Not a bad dream, but not a bad dream.
It was a good dream.
It was a good dream.
Like,
yeah.
And I go, grip, rip, and dip.
Yeah.
And we were like, let's do a grip, rip, and dip bag. So we immediately like procured these smaller bags that would fit 3 bagels nicely.
Brilliant.
And that was it.
So they can try any flavor and just
try any flavor.
Rip it.
They could buy cream cheeses. They could buy more than one if they want, whatever it was.
Right. So did you at the time sell spreads too?
Yeah.
So
we always sold spreads.
Okay.
After once we launched with that partner,
where
I was giving him the cream cheese money, we always sold spreads.
But were you so in terms of the spreads, were you just staying with the basics, plain scallion?
Plain scallion, and then every week we had a changing flavor.
Okay.
And that also started when we were
and butter too, right?
Cheese. And butter.
Yeah.
So we use butter every week because I love butter. Like, I'm a butter guy.
Yeah, I love it.
That's my thing. So, but anyway, so we opened, and for about a month, we were like, people came in, they bought bagels, and it was great. And then all of a sudden, one day, 100 people showed up at once, and I was like, uh-oh.
What happened? Do you know what the
I
turn?
sent them all home.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
Were you like, I'm not ready?
I was like, I'm not ready, go home. Thank you for coming out. We're really amazing. I'm not ready, go home.
Which no one does ever, by the way.
No one's ever done that. I did it. I didn't want to give them a not perfect product.
Okay.
And to give you an idea, when we opened our store, we had like 2 refrigerators.
Oh my God.
We now have 10.
Wow.
Like in the store.
That's insane.
So like that was the volume I was expecting, and then it went to that. And every week we just had more refrigerators purchased, more refrigeration, more equipment. We bought an extra oven in the middle of the day one day. We just couldn't move the line fast enough.
What do you think was the turnaround in getting that day?
It was a combination of our brand, and it was definitely a lot to do with TikTok and Instagram.
Sure.
And, there were some great influencers out there. The first ones that really rocked it for us were, and I don't want to take away anyone's credit, but definitely like Condiment Claire and Sister Snacking. were the 2 first, like...
How cute are they?
They're amazing.
Yeah.
They're amazing. They're great. They're the first, like, hey, you've got to have this bagel. This is the best bagel we've eaten.
And people listen.
And people listen.
Yeah.
And, Condiment Claire, who has a cult following, I didn't know who she was at the time.
Right.
And she came up to our store, and she was just so nice, like, hey, I'm going to come back later. And I was like, well, if you're going to come back later, have a bagel anyway.
Yeah.
And I was like, just have one now while you're thinking about what you're going to eat later. And she mentioned that in her review of us.
Because that's a mensch that you're
so,
yeah.
The one thing I learned with my business is like, and I think anyone should understand this in today's day and age, treat everyone as if they're, whatever influencer you would prefer to be in your store.
Sure.
Because you really don't know who that is.
Yep.
You have no idea what they look like. You have no idea what they act like. So just treat everyone the same.
Yeah.
And the other thing is...
Because any good review is a good review.
Well, it's not even that. It's just you don't know. I mean, there's... in the old days, you would see a celebrity walk in, and they had like this glow of celebrity.
Yes.
You'd be like, oh, that must be a famous person. And by old days, I mean like 20 years ago.
Yes.
Now, like, some guy could walk in a trench coat and a hat over his eyes, and he could have 2 million followers on TikTok.
That's so true.
You just don't know.
It's a very different day and age than when we grew up.
And they're micro celebrities.
Yeah.
In the sense that, like, just because I don't know you doesn't mean 4 million people don't know you.
Right.
So, like...
Right, you didn't know me.
I always want to be good to people.
Yeah.
But especially when you're running a business today, you got to treat everyone great, because you don't know who's the next person.
You're in the service business. Right. And when I say about the good review, bad review, one person can come in who has 2 million followers, and they're like, we were treated like shit.
Yeah.
And then that could just be like, screw them. You know what I mean? You don't know. And you're in a service business.
Right.
Yeah.
The other thing is, every bagel that goes out of our store is most likely going to be photographed. So, like, I always tell our kitchens, if something doesn't look right, just
trash it.
Or put it aside. We donate bagels. We do other stuff with it. But just put it aside.
I will say whoever does your social media I was noticing, is really good with reposting everybody. You know what I'm saying?
That was me until a year ago.
Oh, yeah. Well, you probably do everything.
Now it's Arden, and we have a team that does a lot of our socials and a lot of our... You met Madeline.
Yep.
And but, like... We like to include everyone in the story.
But that's what's nice about it, because, I saw yesterday, it was actually someone I went to college's daughters.
Posting? Just randomly.
That you guys reposted.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what, that's just nice, because you're not too big to post somebody who's randomly, you know what I mean?
Well, that's
They're
how
excited
we
to
Listen,
get. Yes.
We grew our business, first and foremost, you have to have a great product, and you have to have a scalable product.
Yep.
But from that point on, how are you going to show other people and build your community? And the only way to do it is by making people a part of the community and making them feel like they're appreciated. And part of that is, hey, if you're going to go out of your way to post a great picture of our bagels on your social media, we're going to share it too.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I used to share everything.
Right. On your account or on PopUp Bagels?
On PopUp Bagels.
Okay.
Oh, my account is like nothing.
Right.
Like, but on PopUp Bagels account, I used to share everything. And it got to the point where I was being shut down by Instagram on a daily basis for oversharing. They thought I was a bot.
Oh my God.
So we've kind of now, we're like a 1 in 10, 1 in 1 in 5, depending on the day.
Right.
We can't share it all anymore, but we really
Sure.
do our best to take care of, our fans.
But
and
I was
our
gonna say
lovers.
it's nice because that's part of the community too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So okay, so we open up Thompson Street. We open up all these locations. What is the end goal? Keep opening.
Global bagel domination.
So PopUp Bagel takes over the world.
I think so.
Really?
I think so.
So there's no slowing down. The
I
PopUp
don't
Bagel.
see the reason to slow down.
I like it.
Look, every 60% of Americans eat a bagel twice a week.
I will also tell you, like, I have family in Atlanta. No good bagels in Atlanta.
We're opening.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Boulder. No good bagels in Boulder.
Right. We're opening. We're going to open there too.
So,
if not
it's,
this year, next year.
I did a video just before of the great debate, right, of New Jersey bagels versus New York bagels, right? I don't know if it's a great
we can
debate.
Talk about pizza too. Like,
Yeah, I know.
There's great pizza in New Jersey. There's great pizza in New York.
But what I'm saying is bagels, is in this area, right? We got them, we all got them, but it's not a pop-up bagel. But
Right.
around the country, they're craving bagels.
Yeah.
So you're smart. I would open up in every city. Yeah.
We're working on it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we went the franchise route. We want to bring partners in, franchise partners all over the country that know how to operate, know what a good vibe is in an environment, and work with us on our dough and our recipes and our schmears and expand this.
I was gonna say, the other smart thing that you seem to do is collab on the schmears.
Yeah, we love that.
I think we need a food source schmear.
A food source?
Yeah,
schmear?
me, a Livingston
Yeah,
food
no,
source. Yeah, I know what's up. A Livingston schmear. Come on.
I mean, it's a little local. But,
All right, fine. Listen, I'm busting. I'm busting out right now. So come on, yeah. But the collabs I think are really good because that's how you hit a lot of the different demographics, markets. I mean, it's great.
And it's, by the way, it's no different than how we started.
Yeah.
And again, this all goes back to when we were making 100 pounds of cream cheese a week.
Yeah.
We would collaborate with a local farmer, hey, let's use your herbs in this 100 pounds. I just need 5 pounds of herbs.
Right.
Now it's 1,000 pounds. So we're working with bigger brands just so we could really accommodate the
What's
size
going
of what
on.
we're doing.
Yeah.
And we have some wild announcements for this year that I can't tell you here.
You can't tell me any?
No, I mean, we're working with one of the top well-known brands out of France.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, we have some wild stuff going on.
Who puts?
now.
Do they come out? Do they reach out to you? Do you reach out to them, or it just
Both.
happens? Yeah,
Both.
Organically.
A lot of it's organic. A lot of it is, hey, I met you at this. Why don't we do that? Some of it is agencies. We work with, Gamma Communications is an agency we work with. That's really great to, it's actually an agency my father started.
Oh wow!
30 years ago.
That's wild.
Sold it 10 years ago, and the guy Mickey who runs it now is great. He's always calling us every couple weeks. Hey, I got an idea. I got this, and but in general, most of what we do is organic from within.
Yeah.
People reaching out, or a lot of times we'll ask the bagel lovers what
do you want to see?
What do you want to see?
Yeah.
And if they say Biscoff.
You're like,
right?
we'll bring them Biscoff.
Let's bring them Biscoff, and we'll reach out. And, we've earned enough clout right now where 9 out of 10 times the brand will reach back out to us. And it doesn't always work.
I was just going to ask, did you ever have a schmear that did not work?
We've never had that one that didn't work, but we've certainly proposed ideas to companies that say no.
Right, of course, yeah.
It's but, one of the interesting things to learn is, we're a new, young, vibey brand.
Sure.
A lot of the old world consumer products are not new, young, and vibey.
Right.
So they actually appreciate being
brought into the vibe.
Yes. Right now.
Well, because it makes them more current.
More current and socially relevant and all of that.
Yeah.
So we've had we've had a lot of fun with most of the brands. There hasn't really been one that hasn't worked. I mean, certainly some don't sell as well as others.
Of course.
But that just
you only have
happens.
them on a weekly basis.
Weekly basis,
yeah,
yeah.
so it's fine. I was just going to say, you also seem like the type of guy that's open to anything, right? Pretty much.
I mean,
You have to be. Not anything. Come on. Come on. In the bagel world. Yeah.
I mean, we are open to trying new things. We're not, however, into ever changing our store to sell sandwiches or anything like that. Like,
yeah.
We love our simplicity. We love our concept being basic as it is.
I think that's what's amazing. I mean, you know, and that's the difference. Like,
and we love St. James iced tea.
Yeah, there we go. Nice little commercial in the middle of the, yeah. Brought to you by, no, I was going to say a lot of the bagel shops, especially like around where, you know, in Livingston it's all about the bagel sandwiches.
Sure.
I mean, everywhere, but yours is not. It's just a schmear, a butter, and grip, rip, dip.
Right. And by the way, if you want to take it home and make a sandwich,
do whatever you want. Yeah.
But what I hate is like, you're on vacation, you know, let's say you rent a house with like 5 couples, right?
Right.
And you go away. Hey, I'm going to the bagel store. What does everyone want?
Oh my God, it's like the longest list.
And then that person's in front of you at the line.
Annoying.
And they're like, hi, I need triple scoop, light cream cheese. I want onions, but I want them toast. You know, it's like, no. Hey, can I get a dozen bagels? And, you know, a lot of people don't realize, like, they're spending like 45 minutes to an hour when you only have a weekend.
Yep.
Why are you spending that time standing next to a bagel shop, like, waiting for your sandwich?
This makes the line go a lot faster.
I'll take a dozen, this, and that. You go home, you spread it out on the table, everyone gets to be with each other. You get a cutting board and a knife, make your own lox sandwich.
It's amazing.
So that's what we kind of encourage.
There's no scooping. There's no a scooped out bagel here at PopUp Bagels.
Well, they can scoop it themselves.
Exactly. They are not doing it for you.
Yes.
Let's just make that clear.
Exactly.
So, just to like wrap everything up, is there one lesson that you can think of that you learned, you know, doing this whole process that you would pass on to anybody else who's starting a business or anything?
Like there's no faking it. There's no shortcuts, and it's, you know, 100-hour weeks at a minimum for years.
Yeah.
It looks like we did this overnight, but this was like
blood, sweat, and bagels.
This was a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still not done, and I'm not done. And, you know, we have 150 to 70, 170 employees right now. I can't even keep track.
That's incredible.
And it's, you know, it's nonstop work. You have to be committed because at the same time I started my bagel business, there's 50 other people starting their bagel businesses.
Sure.
And the question is, who's going to say, yeah, I'll get to it on Monday, and who's going to say, I'll do it now? And the people who do it now, if you do it smart, are the ones who tend to have that edge, because for every day you waste in a week, that's a year later, that's 50 days that you have an advantage on somebody else.
Right.
And the other thing I would say is know your strengths and build a great team around you.
Yeah.
So, you know, I put together an amazing team of people who, you know, without which I wouldn't be here. And each of them are qualified in their own way to just crush what we do. So
it's amazing. Yeah, because you can't do it alone.
You can't do it alone.
No. And that's a mistake.
Sounds like you can. Oh,
yeah, bagel store. Yeah. Do you know the total amount of bagels, total of all the stores that you produce a week?
I mean,
I'm just curious. It doesn't have to be a hard number. Is it 1 million bagels?
No, I don't.
100,000 bagels?
I don't think we do 1 million bagels a week. That would be
a lot of bagels.
That would be pretty epic.
100,000?
It's definitely 100,000.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Any new flavor bagels coming?
No.
No, we're just staying with where we are and just growing PopUp Bagels.
Just grow it.
So Livingston boy becomes the bagel man. I think that's the title of the podcast. How do we say that? Becomes the bagel man, or the man of bagels.
And by the way, I have to say one other thing.
Yeah.
Major shout out to old friends from Livingston High School who I probably didn't talk to for 20, 25 years.
Yeah.
And as soon as they saw what I was doing, and not being opportunistic, but being supportive.
Yeah.
And this is way early on.
Yep.
Like, before, like, everyone knew who PopUp Bagels was, you know, some of these people, like, reached out and were like, hey, I see you're doing this. That's so amazing. What can I do to help? How can I do this? How can I, you know? And so, like, huge shout out. I mean, it's just awesome, the support that we've had.
Well, I was going to say, the bagels might not have to do with the water. There's definitely something in the water in Livingston that keeps us a tight-knit community. It's wild, it's rare, and it's pretty
awesome.
It's pretty awesome. So awesome. Adam, thank you so much for sitting in the car with me today.
Hey, this was so fun.
So fun. I know, maybe
Driving
we
in
drive
cars
off
with,
and throw bagels out to the
I feel
neighborhood.
like Jerry Seinfeld here,
It's
tell me a joke.
coffee in cars. It's bagels in cars with the food czar.
Yes.
So thank you so much. And
course.
PopUp Bagels is taking over the world, people. So grab yourself one, grip it. Nope. Grip, rip,
and
dip. Yes. Thank you so much.
Woo!
If you are hearing this message, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I'm truly grateful for you and this opportunity. The purpose of the Behind the Counter podcast is to bring food, people, and community together. I hope you'll return for more episodes and explore with me. I want to personally thank Fran Linnell of Design 68 for my amazing Behind the Counter podcast logo, and Travis Lohnberg for my awesome Behind the Counter music, and all the guests that take their time to sit and talk with me. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please leave a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you hear your podcasts. If you'd like to support the Behind the Counter podcast, please subscribe, share with your friends and family, and you can follow me on Instagram at Heidi Blum. If you have any feedback or stories that you want to share, you can email me at foodczarbtc@gmail.com.